Garden is the scene of an unprecedented newsreel record, as President Johnson briefs reporters before delivering his State of the Union message to Congress. Then come the last-minute revisions before the President leaves the White House to address the joint session. His talk was written mainly by Ted C. Sorensen, his special counsel, but it took 24 writers 6 weeks to draft the entire talk, one of the shortest State of the Union messages ever delivered by a chief executive. Then, Press Secretary Pierre Salinger sounds the warning. It's time to leave for the Capitol. The day before he faced Congress, he discussed the speech with members of the Congress and representatives of labor and management. He also discussed the talk with Mrs. Johnson, who has often advised him on his speeches in the past. The First Lady and one of his 2 daughters escort the President to his car for the trip to Capitol Hill. Mr. Johnson had already indicated that he would cut the national budget. However, it was not until his first State of the Union message that the President revealed that spending for the coming year would be less than $98 billion, a drop from last year of $500 million. The President receives a warm welcome from his former colleagues and from the packed galleries. On domestic issues, he called anew for civil rights and a forthright attack on unemployment. His family looks on proudly.
And this administration today, here and now, declares unconditional war on poverty in America. And I urge this Congress and all Americans to join with me in that effort.
Announcing a 25% cutback in the production of material for nuclear weapons, the President had a warning.
We shall neither act as aggressors nor tolerate acts of aggression. We intend to bury no one, and we do not intend to be buried.
The Berlin Wall is being sealed once more as the 17-day pass agreement ends. Now there are the last tearful farewells as visiting relatives say goodbye to East German residents and prepare to return to West Berlin. In a little more than 2 weeks, more than 1.25 million passes were issued by East Berlin authorities. Most of those who crossed over the border were seeing sisters, brothers, mothers, and fathers for the first time since the Wall of Shame was erected in the summer of 1961. As the midnight deadline approaches, tens of thousands line up to be cleared by communist authorities to return to their homes. Now there is agitation on both sides of the wall to set up a permanent pass agreement that might restore a measure of movement between the communist and free sectors of Berlin. But then the barriers go up, and Berlin once more becomes a city split by the hated wall. There were many political implications in the East German gesture, but the people were more concerned with the happy reunions that were made possible. It is worthy of note that not one West Berliner expressed any desire to defect to communist rule in East Berlin. They are jumping for joy at this resort in the Catskills as 20 high-flying speedsters take off after the world's barrel jumping title. This is the 14th annual event to be held at Grossinger's, and most of the contestants stay in the running as more and more barrels are added to the original 11. Now there are 16 in line, and that means a jump of at least 28 feet to clear them all. Alert the first aid stations. of Montreal does pretty well, but his second jump is short, and the Canadian settles for second place. 16 is an unlucky number for most of the contestants. Gerald Lecour of Quebec City counts himself out. That leaves it up to Kenneth LaBelle, defending champion from Lake Placid, New York. His theme is, "Roll out the barrels, I'm hot today." He's the only one to clear the 16 obstacles, and he takes the trophy home for another year. Mary Ann Mobley, a former Miss America, does the honors. And that in itself was worth jumping for. Hey, Ken?